Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Butch Popeye Moss with Texas Biker Radio. I'm going to introduce now for the first time in studio my co-host, O.G. Robbins.
And let me move so you know it's not a picture. I'm here for once. We have another special guest here today. We've got our Houston chapter up here and our president, Jester. Jester, say hi.
Hello.
Jester's going to join us for the broadcast today.
And it's a cool thing because he's got some information he wants to put out today, and plus we're going to talk about the stockyards. We're going to talk about Lake Dallas. We're going to talk about what's going on here in Arlington, my backyard, and it's all not good. But we're working on it. So, Jester, would you like to go ahead and tell us about what y'all got going in Houston?
Sure. First off, in January, for any of the independents listening, we have the Gulf Coast Biker Chili Cook-Off, which is a yearly event. I think this is the 9th. It's at the Hog Stop. I think everybody in Houston knows where the Hog Stop is. It's a great opportunity for people to get together. There's a lot of clubs involved. It's a very friendly event. It's a COC&I sponsored event. And if you end up winning, if you put chili in it and you end up winning, then it's your responsibility to host it the next year. So that's how they pass that off. But it's also a good time to get introduced to some of the clubs in the area. There's usually 10 to 12 clubs present, and it's just a good time, relaxed, for everybody to get together and spend some time together. The other event we have in February is the dedication of the monument. Coincidentally, it'll coincide with the COC&I meeting in February. The Texas Biker Monument Foundation, texasbikermonument.org, is going to dedicate a monument. The Hog Stop has donated the land for it, and the groundbreaking is in February. It's for Texas bikers who have been killed, died, hurt in an accident, not recovered from. It's a pretty good sized monument. I don't know if we can. And so that dedication takes place during the February COC&I meeting, which is also at the Hog Stop.
I've got some questions about the monument.
Okay.
This is what we heard about at the state rally, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
First of all, is it exclusive only to bikers that have been killed via automobile accident or somebody crashing into them, or if they
it could be for a deceased brother as well.
Oh, okay.
Now there's a lady that's kind of heading this up. She's associated with the FAM MC. Her name is Black Diamond. If you need her contact information, you can send me an email at houston.solr@gmail.com, and I'll make sure and get you her contact information. Of course, they're accepting donations. The last time we had a meeting, we raised almost $1,000 towards the monument just from that meeting by passing the hat. We were pretty happy with that.
Is there a target for the amount of money needed for this monument?
Not that I'm aware of. They've got a pretty good head start on it.
Yeah. And let's all work this. That's one monument we want to work to stay off of. So, we've got to watch the traffic out there. Motorcycle safety is paramount. And so, but it's a good idea. It really is.
Also, they're taking suggestions for names to be on the monument. So if you have somebody that you think should be on there already, they'd like to get a list of names to get it started. And that you can also get in contact with her, and she'll make sure she gets that information from you.
Right.
One of the first names on there ought to be Mohawk.
That's true.
You know who Mohawk was?
No.
He's one of the first bikers that was killed at Waco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that suggestion should probably just be made.
Right.
Yep.
So you've got someone in your club or someone, one of your relatives or someone that's been, let's put that name forward. With that, I want to talk about what we've got going on up here, Jester, because I understand.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Did we mention we have another infamous person in the studio with us today that is not on screen?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Should he peek his head in?
hiding.
We, you've seen him before on some of our commercials and some of the stuff we do. Our SA Geezer, he's the SA for Sons of Liberty Riders MC in the DFW area. And Geezer, say hi.
Hello.
Geezer is also our national sergeant at arms.
That's true. That's true.
Back in the background.
In the background. Only because that Green Dragon studio is kind of small, but it's cool. It really is. And so, I enjoy spending my hours working out here, producing and doing the radio shows and other things that we're doing and going to be doing. And with that, I want to talk about the stockyards and things we have going on up here, because Jester, I understand in Houston you don't have this going on.
Yeah, we're not having a whole lot of problems. Occasionally you hear things, or occasionally you see things, like obviously what happened at the rally. Everybody was aware of that. In general, you get more of the police cruiser will pull up along a line of bikes and slowly move back. I don't know if they're running plates or not, but they don't generally pull you over and mess with you. A lot of times if you are pulled over, they'll ask if you need something, if they even bother to do that, and don't just drive by you. So yeah, we're not having the problems you are here.
Just in case you're new and or have had your head stuck in the sand and don't know about it, here in the stockyards in Fort Worth, the ATF sent out a bulletin that 700 Mongols, 3 to 700, were coming to Fort Worth stockyards for a rally. Well, that was hyped up. There was never any 700 Mongols coming to Fort Worth stockyards. And we personally went to check on it and see how the police were behaving since they put out that bulletin. The ATF actually put it out, and then the Fort Worth PD put it out to the news media, and the news media regurgitated it all. So we found out, one thing, we went up there, we riding toward the stockyards, we saw a bunch of police cars and bikers out front of Wilson's Leather Goods, and we decided to stop and go in and see what was going on, and lo and behold, we got in. And there was a Fort Worth Police SRT unit, which is a special response team, that was inside. Now we're milling around in there, and all of a sudden they're yelling, "Hands up!" But then they started reading the riot act to everybody, and nobody had said a word. And the bikers that were there, the Vagos MC, they were complying. They weren't saying a word, they weren't complaining, weren't doing anything, but this sergeant, we call him Sergeant Steroid, he started, "We're going to take you to jail if you don't put your foot down at the stop sign, if you don't turn on a turn signal, if you don't do this, you don't do that, we're going to take you to jail." And then when one guy, when he said, "Hands up," one guy couldn't get his arm up too high because of a torn rotator cuff. He pulls a gun on him, with an 8-year-old child standing by, a little girl. And she starts crying. And then we started asking questions. And then as we were asking questions, and they were talking about their investigation, we was trying to figure out what investigation that is, because Nobody ever said anything about an investigation. Anyway, they take them outside, so we couldn't continue to talk to them. And we're talking about to the police officers. They took everybody outside. And in the end, what it was motorcycle profiling. That's what it was. And so, you know, then they'd also gone to all the businesses down there in the stockyards and said, you know, hey, put up signs, no colors.
It's going.
This is Butch Popeye Moss with Texas Biker Radio. I'm here at the Love Shack with Isabel, and she was here the day that the Mongols were here in the Fort Worth stockyards. And Isabel, was what the Fort Worth police were saying, was that overhyped?
It was super overhyped. There were some Mongols out, maybe about 20 of them. They were in and out. It wasn't really that big a deal. Most bars weren't serving them down here, so it was more cops than anything.
Yeah. So they were on their best behavior, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, what we're looking at now is just how much that was overhyped, and the way that bikers were treated by everybody. And they put signs up and down the stockyard here that said, you know, no biker gang affiliation, no cuts, that kind of stuff. You got an opinion on that? Was it necessary?
I mean, just solely based on how they acted, I feel like they were polite, they treated everybody right, they tipped appropriately. I don't think it was necessary, personally. But, you know, we'll have to take the precautions they need to.
With that, this is Butch Popeye Mouse with Texas Biker Radio. Now, since then, that has spread over to Lake Dallas, down to Hamilton, Texas, all this North Texas area. It has spread. They're actually going into businesses, threatening to call the TABC. Is that right? Or TBAC?
TABC.
TABC.
TABC. Threatens to call them. And, yep, that sends the business people into a panic. Well, next thing you know, there's a no colors sign. And when they put up a no colors sign, it doesn't specify who. That's everybody. Everybody, no matter who you are. It doesn't say 1%. It just doesn't. And you know, I think we're on the verge of a constitutional crisis here with that going on.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Part of the problem is that they don't know the difference
That's
between
true.
a 1% club and not. Or a
Right.
Sunday independent wearing his fun vest. They don't know the difference.
Right.
And so their lack of education is going to cost us all dearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every one of us.
And we're working to educate the public. I work at this every day. Every day. Getting the word out there. Hey, it's not as you're being told. It's the same thing we did in Waco. When we put ads in the newspaper, sending them to our website, telling them, hey, it's not as you're being told. You want the truth about it? Come here. Now, you got anything you want to say about that?
Oh, listen, I could go on for volumes.
Go ahead. Do one volume.
Excuse me. That time of the year when you got to keep clearing your throat. But I heard some interesting dialogue on the radio while I was journeying from damn near Oklahoma to Arlington. And that dialogue I was hearing was, there's a crisis within the state of Texas. And what's happening is you've got a ton of businesses and people moving into the state of Texas out of states like California and off of the East Coast where taxes are really high and they're looking for tax breaks. And the average citizen is just trying to get the hell away from the lunacy that they're seeing going on in their area. The problem is you get these immigrants moving here that want a change, but they forget to stop voting the same way they've been voting. You've got this insanity going on in California right now with all of these crooked politicians that want to tax the hell out of everybody. They're wanting to raise the gas tax. Not too long ago, we heard via the media that they're considering a texting tax now. So if you start texting on your telephone, they're going to tax you for it. So people are wanting to get away from this, but you've got these frickin' idiots that continue to vote the same way. And let me cite some examples. We have some good politicians within the state of Texas that didn't make it this last election. And they didn't make it in areas where a lot of these people that have moved into Texas have moved into those areas, and they voted for the progressive because that's all they know. The problem is, you know, they got what they deserved in their home state, but they've brought the disease here to Texas, and we better be alarmed about it. You've got to be alarmed to the point that, let's first of all recognize there are at least 300,000 voters within the motorcycle community.
Yes.
Probably closer to 400,000.
Yeah.
That is one hell of a voting block. And the problem is, bikers tend to be a little complacent. They're libertarians at heart. A lot of us are rock hard constitutionalists. I don't care what party you're registered to. We all believe in limited government. Let me do what the hell I want to do. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, I should be able to make my own choices. And that's basically the way bikers think. So they tend to lean towards the conservative side. I don't care which party they're registered to. The problem is, half of them don't get out to vote, or you hear the old dialogue of, well, I just can't vote in this election because I don't think there's a worthy candidate, so I'm not going to vote for anybody. I cannot vote for the lesser of two evils. That is the biggest frickin' mistake you could possibly make, because your lack of vote allows these liberal idiots to get their candidates in. It's just plain and simple. You have allowed something to happen by your complacency. Adopt the attitude of, okay, I recognize here that I've got two idiot candidates that are up for a vote. Which one is going to create the lesser harm until we can get a better candidate in that slot? And go vote for that person. You still voted in an idiot, but at least they're going to do a lesser amount of damage. You could apply that same to the presidential election. There were a lot of people that weren't happy about Trump. They were worried. I had some worries. I'm sure Popeye had some worries. Jester had some worries. Even Geezer had some concerns. We all talked about them. But what the hell do you think would have happened if Hillary would have gotten in? You think things are fucked up now? And let me use that word blatantly. You think they're screwed up now? What the hell do you think would have happened if Hillary would have gotten in? Classic example of, I'm not going to vote in this election because there's not a worthy candidate. So maybe I've wandered away from the motorcycle world a little bit in this discussion.
You did, and I'm fixing to bring it back.
And I know that upsets some out there, because some people have commented to us on occasion, how come you guys get off the motorcycle stuff? Well, you got to start going for the root cause of a problem. In one of my positions, when I used to work in the corporate world, we used to have to do that stuff. If there was a problem going on, you had to dig in and you had to find out what the hell is the root of this problem. And the root of this problem lies in what in the hell's going on in Texas and all these areas that are turning blue, and these idiots that are voting for insanity. So let's bring it back to the MC.
Let's bring it back, because we are a political group, our motorcycle club. Now, January 28th, we have Legislative Day coming up at the Capitol, the Motorcycle Legislative Day. We have that coming up at the state capitol. It is imperative that you be there, that you go visit your legislator, whether they be new or newly elected. Oh, wait a minute, old or newly elected. They've been around for a while. The ones that have been around for a while, they know the ropes. The ones that are new, we need to contact them and contact them fast. Because they're newbies. And there may be opportunity there. But you need to let them know of your concerns when it comes to motorcycle profiling and other safety issues that are a concern for everybody. Everybody. I mean, as motorcyclists, we get a good look at what the traffic is doing out there. At the people that are driving 70, 80, 90 miles an hour with a phone in front of them. I see it every day on the roads around here, around the DFW area, and I've seen it in Houston. I've seen it no matter where I've been. The numbers of motorcycle fatalities are staggering. And we hear about a death every other day of somebody that tangled with a motorist, of somebody that didn't see them because they're not looking. They're not looking for motorcycles. The hell, they're not looking outside the damn car. And we need to make it safer for ourselves, for our club members, for everybody on two wheels out there. And this is where it starts, and this is the reason it's important. So we need you to join in. And as far as motorcycle profiling goes, we need everybody to push back. And maybe you're going to talk about that for a minute, you and Jester?
It's just not going to stop there. There's money to be made off the motorcycling community.
Right.
You're quite aware of it.
Yeah.
And they're going to use the profiling to suck that money out of your pocket.
Right.
And civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, and civil asset forfeiture, which goes against almost everything this country stands for.
Yeah.
It's just unacceptable. So the more people that accept it, the more it's going to happen, and the less anybody's going to be able to do about it.
There's a classic thing going on right now, and that's the Mongol
Yep.
court case. That started several years back. The federal government lost the first round, but unfortunately the federal government has deep pockets when
Right.
it comes to money. And an attorney friend of mine told me once, it's not always necessarily what is the most just that wins over, it's who's got the most money that can run it the furthest in the courts. Think about that one for a minute,
Right.
okay? So, the federal government has once again come back at the Mongols with a whole new strategy. And they won round two. Not against the patch, but it's a serious move against their patch. They won the round where they convicted the Mongol organization or club as a whole of being a criminal organization.
That's anyone wearing a patch
That's
across
right.
the
That's
nation.
every Mongol you can count.
Regardless.
Okay? Their prospects, their known associates, whatever. They have been convicted of being a member or a known associate of a criminal organization. Now, what's interesting about that is that doesn't mean anybody goes to jail.
Right.
And
Nobody's going to jail.
Right. That was not their intent. Their intent was to get that conviction on the table, because now it makes more sense to say, okay, if you are a criminal organization, that emblem that you wear on your back is in fact your organization. You are advertising your organization. And we want to be able to take that away from you, even though you have a federal trademark for that patch. And you know what? If they're successful, that is a major death blow to everybody. I don't care what you think of the Mongols, what you think of any 1% organization. And let me say up front, we have met plenty of 1%ers that are damn good guys.
Yes.
And all of the 1%ers that we have met today, we're not talking back in the 50s and 60s, but the 1%ers that we've met today are interested in cleaning up or doing house cleaning within their organizations and getting rid of the bad apples. They're throwing them out. They become aware of somebody that's conducting illegal activities, they're out. Nobody wants that heat anymore. Nobody wants it. So, you know, that's what's going on now, and that's what's really sad about the Mongol organization right now, because their current leadership is really trying to attain that level of tossing out the bad apples. But nonetheless, they have now been convicted. Now, what does that mean? If the government is successful in phase 2 of this, of taking the trademark away, that may not affect any of us immediately. But that's another domino down. And the next domino is the next 1% club that they're going to go after. And we can all speculate as to who that may be.
Yeah.
Or may not be. So
It's
we're
going
not
to be
really...
whoever they think has the most money.
That's right.
It's just that simple.
That's right. The next one they want to take down. They'll take down every 1% club that they want to, and when they're done with that, like Jester said, they're not really educated as to who might be bad and who might be good. They're going to start coming for the mom and pops, for the smaller MCs, because now they're going to say anybody that wears a 3-piece patch on their back is bad. And a lot of these morons don't even know the difference between a 3-piece and a 1-piece.
That's true.
They see a patch
Oh, it's a lack of
oh my
education.
God, it's
Absolutely.
a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So everyone is going to, all of us are in that row of dominoes. It just depends upon how far downstream we are in the eyes of law enforcement and the government.
Right.
But they're coming for everybody. You better make damn sure in your mind that you recognize that, and don't be complacent. Don't fire up a bowl and think everything's going to be cool, or order another beer, because it's going to happen to you. I have seen, in the years I have been on this planet, a major difference in what in the hell was going on when I was a kid compared to what's going on today. And let me tell you, I grew up in California for the first part of my life. I didn't leave that state until I was like 17, almost 18, to go into the Air Force. That was a damn good state to live in. Lots of people wanted to move there. Good things were happening. They had good people in office. Taxes weren't too bad. Everything was great.
Bikinis.
Today, it's your worst frickin' nightmare. People are talking about, hey, let's not just build the wall between us and Mexico. Let's extend it up and get California the hell out of there, too.
Yeah.
So, you know, things have changed. A lot of liberties that I had as a kid are gone. You can't do those things anymore. You don't dare. The government's taking it away.
Let me put an example up here. Going back to Lake Dallas again. They're at this little place called The Point. And there's a few banditos in there and some other guys from other clubs. And so the police decide they're going to do a walkthrough where they go in and they start see these guys there, and they do their walkthrough. Then they go to the manager. They threaten the manager, and to keep them from getting in trouble, that all the guys left. Mel, they were not drinking. They were having a meal, and They don't want you to have the right to exist. But now that a no color sign is posted, that's everybody. And I'm going to be interviewing that lady soon, one of the owners. And it's going to be interesting to find out everything that went down, because we got freedom of information requests. We've got other stuff that we want to do. We're looking at this. It takes time. Whenever you start looking into these things, it's not anything that's going to happen fast. Because generally when you do a freedom of information request, it's at least 2 weeks before you hear back from them. And then, of course, they've got to contact the Attorney General. You know, they can make a decision there on the spot, but you can't make any other decisions on the spot. They got to talk to the Attorney General, and I already know what he's going to tell us. We've been through this before. But understand, this stuff spreads. And you know, I think literally the hype has been so bad about all these clubs. There are a lot of police officers that are scared to death of bikers.
They've got their own club.
Scared to death of them.
They've got their own club.
Well, I know they got their own club. They have to call for support if they stop one single biker, like happened here in Arlington. Now, I can't talk about that neither, because that's under investigation by us. More requests. More stuff going on. We're talking to our attorneys. But in this instance, it seems to me that the law enforcement officer that stopped this person was maybe scared to death. And he's for sure bought into the narrative that they hear all the time.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't even stop him.
No, that's correct.
Oh,
He
somebody
did
else
not
did?
stop him.
Nice.
He was already on the side of the road.
Out of gas.
Out of gas. Exactly. He thought the officer was stopping to help.
Is he still?
But no,
The screen went blank.
that's all right.
Okay.
Can I put the Captain Obvious cape on for a minute? Do you
You
mind?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as unity and teamwork goes, and getting everybody involved, everybody knows the numbers of the registered amount of motorcycles in the state of Texas is somewhere around 500,000. It floats up or down depending on the time of year that they actually pull the statistics. We know a relatively small group of people who work together as a team and got a DA removed from office. Now that wasn't 400,000 people
That's
working
true.
together. That was a very small group of people. In fact, if you had to figure out what the percentage would be, you would need a bigger calculator than the one that's on your phone, because it's minimal. So imagine what even half of those people could do together. If even 200,000 people were involved, and we're not asking for 100 hours of your time a week,
Right.
minimal amount of time, stand up for what you believe in, and as a group, we will be more successful. If you look at the ridiculousness of even the dead red bill, how long has that been dragging on?
That's been dragging on at least 2 sessions.
Okay, and that's a common sense thing. And right now, as it stands, it doesn't just apply to motorcycles, it also applies to cars. And you can't even get something as simple as that
Right.
moved along. And to touch on what OG was saying about the Mongols and all of them being criminals, I'm going to give you a little bit of personal truth here. I did a lot worse things in my life before I was associated with a club.
Yeah.
Because afterwards, you represent that club. And the people that you stand with and the entire motorcycle community holds you to a higher standard.
Yes, it
It's
is.
true.
And so people don't know that because they're not involved. They don't have the education. They don't understand how the protocols work and what you should and shouldn't do. And they need to. They need to understand that as part of a club, you are held to a higher standard than as an individual.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, in our club, Sons of Liberty Riders, we hold every patch holder responsible for their actions, because we feel wherever they are, whenever they are representing this club. And if they misstep, they drag the club into it. So you're right, we do hold a high standard.
But it's other clubs as well.
Yeah,
So when you're in an area where there's other clubs, whether you're having a meeting or whether it's a social event, everybody's held to a higher standard.
That's true.
Mongols included, whether you like it or not. That's
Yeah.
the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And that's the community. Now in Houston, they're really serious about that kind of thing. So that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You know, if you're causing your club heartache, and you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it. And, you know, you may not be long for the club. You're going to be disciplined in some way. Right, Geezer?
Yes, sir.
So,
let me add something
Yeah.
here too. You know, we've been talking a lot about clubs, but we know there's also a huge amount of independents out there.
yes.
Texas as a state, probably, well, from what I understood on the conversation I heard, Texas is by and far the largest state, or the state with the largest number of registered motorcycles and motorcycle riders and number of clubs. But the number of independents is also phenomenal. And we sit here and we talk a lot about clubs, but there's a huge number of independents out there that also listen to us. And it's important for the independents to become a greater part of the community. You're
Yes.
already part of the community because you ride a bike. But in order to push back, and we've been using that term a lot lately, push back, you can't continue to be a frickin' sponge. Because what happens with a sponge when it fills with water, pretty soon it just becomes saturated, too fat and lazy, lays back and doesn't do anything or serve a purpose. You have to push back, and the best way to push back is, in Texas, our coalition of clubs is not just called a coalition of clubs, it is called the Texas Coalition of Clubs and Independents. And that is, there are 12 regions within Texas. So that doesn't mean you got to come all the way to DFW or Houston or Austin to be able to join. There are 12 regions in this state. Find out in your area when the next Coalition of Clubs and Independent meeting is and go to it. If you weren't welcome, they wouldn't call it a coalition of clubs and independents. You don't have to belong to a club to go to a COC meeting. Go, find out what's going on, ask what it takes to continue with that organization or to get involved. You're already basically a member as an independent.
And there's no cost involved.
Yeah, and there's basically
zero
yeah.
cost involved to show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And none of us pay any dues to a coalition of clubs. None of us. There are no dues collected. It is strictly any contributions that are made to that organization. So don't believe the bullshit that, you know, if you belong to a COC, you're going to be assessed so much per month or whatever. Not true. I can tell you, because I sit on one of the boards of one of the regions. And as a matter of fact, I'm secretary treasurer of one of them. And we don't collect dues. We never have, we never will. So that's what I wanted to add.
That's right. Nobody's forced to do anything. So, you know, I mean, the reason we're members, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again and again, is because when we first started looking around and we started wanted to get politically involved here in this state, we found that the Texas Legislative Strike Force through the COCI was probably the best legislative group working on motorcycle safety issues, motorcycle profiling, other things that are going on. The bills they were writing were impeccable, and then let me tell you, they were writing them. Wasn't the politicians? It was motorcyclists themselves. We read the first few bills. It was absolutely incredible. Hey, we got to be a part of this group. We got to be a part of this. And like Mel said, we're not asking you, or Jester said, we're not asking you to do 100 hours a week. You know, it's as simple as sharing this podcast. It's as simple as going to a meeting and learning your rights and getting the literature. It's as simple as talking to your state rep. And you should be doing that no matter who you are. No matter who you are. Otherwise, you're going to let the madness continue. The madness that's going on in this state, in this country. So you got to step up. I mean, we talk about pushback. We say we're talking about, hey, just go be you. Come with us to one of the rallies where there is going to be a second wave to the stockyards.
Oh, hey.
Join us.
And listen, talk to anybody that was on that first wave. That wasn't a protest rally. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
You talk to anybody that was on that ride, and they'll tell you that was probably one of the coolest things they've ever done, and probably most of the fun they've ever had riding a bike anywhere. It was just awesome.
Because the outlaw mind is gratified with a little bit of
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of in your face. It just is, man. Sometimes that's all I need to cheer me up for the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way it is.
I mean, when the first run down through the stockyard, and we did 3. The first one, I look over at all law enforcement, and there's one of them in the middle of all of them, standing there waving at us. And I know the others looked at him like, what in the hell are you doing? But it was great fun, and we got to stop down there, and the tourists would take pictures with us, do all kinds of stuff. It was really, really cool, and was so much fun.
And we're going to make a regular thing of it.
We're going to make the stockyards our home. We're going to go there a lot. And when we have our chapter yearly rendezvous this year, guess what? We're coming, baby.
You're going to see a lot of Sons of Liberty patches.
That's right.
Riding through the stockyards and mingling with the tourists.
On a
That's
Sunday,
right.
right? Always on a Sunday?
On Sunday?
On a Sunday, yeah.
It could be a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it's busiest. Especially, I'm surprised, even when the weather's bad, there's a lot of people around the stockyards. I was really surprised about that, but that's the truth of it.
Well, when you Google things to do in Dallas,
Yeah, that's one of the things that
it's
comes
what
up.
comes up right in the list.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me
And,
add something too. You said, it's important for you to share this broadcast, and that's right, but we would ask you to do one more thing on top of sharing. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. We need your subscription because the more people we can get to subscribe, the more we're able to do and the more flexibility we have with that YouTube channel. So
yeah,
we're rewarded by YouTube by the number of people that subscribe. And our first landfall will be 1,000 subscriptions.
yeah.
We're not there yet.
Our first was 100, our next
Yeah.
is 1,000, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. We made the 100 easy. The 1,000 we're working for. We need you to subscribe. So please pass the word. When you share it, just add in the caption, watch and subscribe to this channel.
That's right. And we'll have more to say as things go along here and the riding weather improves. What, it was just the first day of winter, is that today or yesterday?
I don't know.
Think I read it.
Yesterday.
Wait, I'm in Texas, so there is no winter.
Well, I know there's not much of a winter here.
Yeah.
And what's so cool about where we live is we ride all year long. Yeah, we have some cool spells, but not anything we can't handle. That's for sure.
That's true.
I've never owned an electric
Yeah.
suit.
What a coincidence. I never have either.
Yeah. So, with that, everybody, anything else? Any last thoughts?
No, sir.
I'm good.
You're good, Geezer? Geezer, look. Can you get in the picture there?
There
There's
we
Geezer.
go.
Hey, thank you for listening, everybody. This is Butch Popeye Moss with Texas Biker Rodeo.
OG.
Jester.
Geezer.
Have a great day and ride safe, everybody.